Well, the warmest greetings to each one of you, one and all, wherever you are in the world, joining us here today. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, joining you from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the American heartland, but I assure you it is covered by the Focus Life Force Energy product. And today we're coming, as always, from the heartland, hopefully straight to your heart. And today I have with me two good friends, two people that literally are helping change the world. I have Clayton with me and I have Jeffrey with me from the Focused Life Force Energy, which we affectionately call FLFE. Gentlemen, welcome back to the program. It's great to see you again.
Great to be with you, Jeffrey.
Good to see you, Jeffrey.
And you're both looking healthy too. It's been probably 6 months since we saw each other and you look great.
Yeah.
Jeff's
Thanks.
got a little bit of a tan. Nice.
Yeah, I got a bit of a beard, just a baby beard.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can see that. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Wow. So good things are happening. Good things are happening. Let me just tell people real quickly, I talk about it almost every podcast and it's on my website, but it's probably been about a year now that I have started using the Focus Life Force Energy service product, whatever you would call it. It's a little bit ambiguous to nail down, but I had someone that was trying to convince me. I thought it was silly. I thought it was ridiculous. There's no way this can work. It won't happen. And that's exactly the way I felt right up until the day that I started using it. And I could notice change. I could notice difference. I could notice physiological changes. I could notice spiritual changes. I could notice emotional changes. And right away, I noticed changes in the animals in my life as well. And I know Jay Campbell also remarked the same thing about changes in his dogs. And then you two were good enough to help me out with a certain special product, and it's in my broadcast studio, and I literally cannot get the two dogs in this house to leave this studio. They love it. I know it sounds crazy, folks that are watching. You're going to be saying, there's no way. You're going to be nah. But I'm telling you, you don't know until you try. And one of the great things about FLFE is you can try it at no cost, no obligation. You don't even have to give up a credit card number. And it's right on my website, jeffreydaugherty.com, and I'll put it in the box below. But Jeff, if you would, Jeffrey, tell us a little bit about what Focus Life Force Energy is for those of us and those in the chat room that have not seen it or have understood what it is up until now.
Sure. Yeah, FLFE is one of the, more than one, there's a number of technologies now. They're emergent technologies. They're working in the area of quantum association. Some people call it quantum entanglement. So what we're doing with this product is activating a field. And what we've discovered is this machine that we worked with an inventor, and we've developed it for many years since then, was focusing and concentrating life force energy, hence the name. And in that highly energetic space, we could, with a legal address or some other identifier, we could activate a field anywhere in the world. There's no device or product that goes to the location. This is an instant activation that happens. So people can get on the website, as you can see, through the link on Jeffrey's site. There's a free trial for a phone and for a home. And so
Yes.
the way it works is it's very much like prayer or Reiki or some other way that the human consciousness and human system works, where as you think of someone, say you're thinking of your mother, you're holding her in your mind. There's a uniquely identified person in your mind. A field is activated, we believe, around that person. And that field is now filled with your feelings for your mother. That love, that healing energy, whatever your intention is now actually in that field. And so that is the exact way that FLFE works. The unique identifier of an address or the phone number for a phone. In the free trial, you could do either one. Activates the field, and then within it, we create or we activate and specify within that field a high consciousness, EMF mitigation, and a number of other things that we're talking about, which help create a sanctuary type of environment. Much like if you went into a monastery or someplace where there's been prayer, or people with very high intentions gathered together, that accumulated energy is the feeling that it's.
And as it says on the website, and the reason I wanted to read this is because I think it's very accurate, at least of what I have experienced by using the Focus Life Force energy. And it says it's a positive energy field that raises the consciousness of your space and gives you more energy for your life, and it does. It supports you in co-creating a more nurturing environment. It's not going to automatically make you a spiritual giant, but it does support you in co-creating a more nurturing environment to expand your consciousness, to sleep and meditate more effectively, to boost your body's natural healing ability. And interestingly enough, as I look back, I don't think I've been sick since I've been under the FLFE product. Also increases focus, concentration, and creativity, and energizes your living and working space. And that really, that website is well done, and I think it's very, very accurate. Clayton, what is your input on the origins and beginning and the nuts and bolts of what basic FLFE is before we get into the, frankly, very exciting new products that you've got going on?
Well, Jeff described it pretty well, and sitting here kind of asking the creator what to say, my sense is to talk about, there's a lot happening in the world. There's more and more, I think there's more and more good things happening all the time. At least that's how we see it. And there are these things that are conveniences that we love. We love our cell phones. I mean, I love mine. It's so handy. We love Wi-Fi. There's a lot of things that are helping us potentially be closer as a society. It certainly amplifies whatever our intention is, because we can reach out quicker and do more harm or more good.
Right.
And all these conveniences have an effect on the body. We're in this electronic smog. And so what we're trying to do is create the optimal conditions for human evolution. So let's take the best of all the conveniences.
Oh, what a great statement that is. Say that again, please.
To create the optimal conditions for human evolution.
Mm.
Or another thing we say is create the optimal conditions for the evolution of consciousness in an economized society. Because we still have to work. Most of us have to go to work. And so it is possible to create states that are higher than what we generally use. And we go back to the principle of
it's kind of like, I don't want to interrupt, but I want to get this in. I think it's important. It's like you just said, you may not be able to go to a monastery, but in a sense, you can bring the monastery environment to you.
Yes. Anybody who's gone, there's an intention that you're carrying all the way to that site. And then when you're there, there's a sense of gratitude, relief, celebration, joy. And those are the places that miracles happen more often than other places.
Good point.
And so high consciousness fields have that capacity.
Amazing stuff. Quick question from the chat room. Jama asked, if I had FLFE in my home, would everyone in the house feel it even if I didn't tell them?
Well, that happens very often. People put it on and they don't necessarily tell everyone because they'd like to see what does happen. And we do recommend that people encourage everyone to drink plenty of hydrating fluids, because in this higher energy, high consciousness field, the body's using that energy for healing, as we can talk more about later. So more water is good. If you're going to do that, make sure you're just encouraging everybody to drink. You don't have to tell them necessarily that it's on, but yeah, it's interesting, the reports that we get. That the most shocking report of all that we get frequently is teenagers cleaning.
Teenagers cleaning
their rooms. Yeah.
Well, I haven't been around any teenagers, but that's very, very interesting. And somebody asked, I'm trying to find who it was. So Casey asked, is it like a Schumann wave? Like the Schumann resonance?
Well, it's not a wave or a frequency. It's an activated field. So it really is the same as thinking of someone, praying for them, doing Reiki treatment, where it's an instant association. It's an activated field. It's different from a frequency.
Gotcha. And several people that do have the service in the chat room are echoing your admonition, Jeff, to make sure that you do drink more water when you start, because some people, and then someone asks, is there any negative, and I'll let you address it, is there any negative side effects from Fluffy, and that's what prompted some people to say, make sure you do drink enough water, because they have, some of them experience a little bit of a slight sense of, I forget, they said disorientation or dizziness because they realized they weren't drinking water. But beyond that, has anyone reported any type of, I don't want to say side effects, but less than optimization feelings by when they first get on to Fluffy or Focus Life Force Energy?
Well, anytime you raise your consciousness, the next step in our lives isn't always a graceful, comfortable, elegant journey. Right?
That's true.
It's like, the first 2 weeks going to the gym, they just suck. You just hurt all the time. You're sore, you're stiff.
Right.
But if you don't get past the first 2 weeks, then it's hard to hang in there. So there is an emphasis on hydration for a reason. What we do with the service is we request to divinity through the technology that as the hydration level in the body is optimized, the service is optimized. So there's a lot of consideration gone into the fact that not all of us are hydrated properly. In fact, we believe that most of us are chronically dehydrated.
Absolutely.
So, and doesn't mean we're doing anything wrong. It's just we haven't really been educated on the importance of water. We recommend in the first 3 days when you go on the service that you drink half of your body weight in ounces. Which is, so if you're 150 pounds, it's about 75 ounces a day.
Right. That's great. I'm glad you're giving these parameters.
Yeah, and it helps to put a little bit of sometimes sea salt in the water just to help with the absorbability. And it's good to drink spring water or some type of reverse osmosis type water. A lot of tap water has chlorine or chloramine or fluoride. So if you're drinking cleaner water, it's just easier to get it down. It's just hard to get it down sometimes.
Right.
Used to it, So
and it's profound to me. They asked, how about would everybody know? I've had people that were dead set that it wasn't going to work and that it wasn't going to be beneficial. And I've actually, you can make a gift subscription, and I've had it go to places and people will say, you know what? I thought it wasn't going to work, but I really can tell a difference. It really does feel better. People there feel better, even if you don't believe it, it really does help. And it really does create that positive environment for personal change and growth and development. And I can't say enough about it. And the base Fluffy, as I call it, was really, really effective. But now I understand that you're rolling out some new and exciting additions, and some of it's even at a lower price point. Is that correct?
Yeah, I could start with that.
Please.
As we look at
Bavarian Winch, guys, doesn't believe it, so we got to work on her and convince her.
Try the free trial.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the things we
try the free trial.
Yeah, and that's why we have a free trial, because it's such a nonlinear, unusual concept that people need to trust themselves. They need to try it. If they feel it, they feel it. If they don't, they don't. And
Jeff, let me just make sure that people understand. Most of the time, I know why they want us to get a free trial, because they want me to forget and not cancel it. And they got my credit card, and I'm going to get hit for 6 more payments before I can get them to stop. Tell them why that won't happen with Fluffy.
Well, our free trial has no credit card. No credit card required. So you can't even put in a credit card if you want to. The other thing that is why that wouldn't happen, even if you become a subscriber and you decide you want to cancel, is we have a staff, and they're there answering phone calls all day long. So there's someone to talk to, not like a lot of internet products that you might buy where you try to reach someone, there's nobody there. So
right.
We're dedicated with a staff all the time.
Absolutely.
So back to the bigger picture, we saw, as Clayton said, we have all these conveniences. We're in this modern world. How do we create the optimal conditions for our evolution? And the first piece was the EMF mitigation, because these EMF fields are perturbing us. I mean, even though we don't know it, we're in this smog. We've got all this spiky energy. Our bodies are reacting to it. And when we did our tests, our beta tests with the surveys, what people came back and told us was less tension headaches particularly, less just physical tension, less anxiety, better sleep, more personal energy. So I think we're kind of fighting this EMF environment all the time. We don't even know it. So that was
Right.
step one. And step two was let's optimize our brains, our cognitive functioning, because it's been in this soup, and it's not been good for us. So that is the next step. With what we've added is what we call brain optimization. And then to support that, the GI tract optimization, because the GI tract and the brain are so linked.
And that would be the gastrointestinal, right?
Yep, the GI tract. So what we're doing here is we're adding additional energy. Just like if you went to a Chinese medicine practitioner and you got acupuncture, you had herbal treatments to increase the flow of qi or life force energy through different organs or parts of your body. What we're doing with these, what we call programs, is we're asking for more life force energy to be there available for your gastrointestinal tract. And so what happens is the body's innate intelligence uses that energy for whatever it's needed. So you were asking, like, what can happen when you first go on FLFE, where some people are seeing a lot more eliminations.
Interesting.
Because now the GI tract has more energy, so it's wanting to either clear itself of excess stuff, or it's getting rid of pathogens or whatever's there. So the same with the brain. So there's more energy available in the parts of the brain that need it the most. So it's the lower energy areas that are either being depleted because you're in the middle of a high cognitive functioning, event. You're taking a test, or you're working at work and you're working really hard and your brain's tired. That additional energy people are finding is giving them more stamina, more just functioning in a cognitive way. And then at night, that extra energy is helping the brain to rebuild. Again,
Wow.
we're not specifying, we're just providing the bank account, and the body is cashing those checks and doing what it needs to do.
Jeff or Clayton, has anyone ever related to you any changes in their dream life?
Mm.
We've had lots of testimonials about people's dreams becoming more vivid, that they can recall them more in the morning where they wake up, and more conscious dreams is what I've heard as well.
Interesting.
One of the things that I've noticed is if I have a dream and it's off, I'll wake myself up and I'll go back into the dream and change the story.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Amanda B is saying that she's experiencing this for sure, as far as the dreams go. Now, I know that you don't want to say things like this, and it's kind of unofficial, but I've been told, and it's not me because I'm allergic to alcohol, so I don't deal with this, but I have been told by multiple sources that if they are recovering in a fluffy, enriched environment, that their hangover is much less severe and that they get better much quicker. Have you ever received any data on that, gentlemen?
Well, I actually haven't heard that too often. Have you heard
I've
that?
heard it. I've heard it multiple times.
No, we're just amateur drinkers. We were on holidays together, and we had a drink. We went out fishing one night. We caught these big Chinook salmon, Jeffrey. They were big, like 25, 30 pounds. And we went back and celebrated. Went to this, smoker shack. And we had a little bit of rum, and it's like, I mean, I don't know, half a shot. Like we're just such light drinkers. We're like the worst people to test it ourselves. And the odd person has mentioned that they seem to recover from exercise better as well.
That's true.
When they work
Absolutely.
out. Yeah.
I can definitely concur with that. Now, so you've got the basic service, let's just call it. Then you have one that's for your brain and mind optimization and for gastrointestinal optimization as well, right? So there's two additional services?
No, those are all in the standard product.
Oh, okay.
So you have sort of the flagship product, which is FLFE, home business, nonprofit for property, and it's FLFE everywhere for a phone or an object. That's got everything.
Gotcha.
Got the EMF mitigation, it's got the GI tract.
We haven't talked about that yet either.
Yeah.
And someone asked, Tiddly asked, if for some reason I need to turn it off, or if I'm feeling suddenly uncomfortable, can I do that?
Yes. So we built in, particularly for the free trial, but for subscribers as well, we built in a control panel that you, in the first email, you get your login for that. And you can turn the whole service on and off. You can turn the EMF portion only on and off. So you can see what it feels like without the EMF mitigation, which is, I find really interesting. You know, when I turn it off, I can just feel my tension in my shoulders kind of come up. And when I turn the EMF mitigation back on, I just start to relax. I can't even say it because I don't want to turn it off. So that's part of the control. And then for a property, you can actually turn down and up the level of consciousness now. This is a brand new feature we just released last week, where some people feel it's too intense, and maybe that first week they can slide it down. The 560 on the Hawkins map we used to measure, that's the default. But now you can go up to 570, or you can slide it down to 500 if you wanted to. And then we've also added something called a boost, which is a 600 field. And for a property, that's for a half an hour, and for on a phone or something moving, it's 5 minutes.
Amazing, amazing. So, and all of this comes within what you would call the flagship FLFE, right?
That's right.
So you're adding things, but I just have to say, gentlemen, you're adding things that are very valuable, but I don't see you talking about increasing the price. Am I missing something?
Well, the price did go up to $35.
From what?
From $30.
Yeah, from 30 to 35, and but that includes everything, right?
That includes everything. Now the business subscription is higher.
Right. Because it's a little different, yeah. But that's amazing to me that you keep adding things, and we're not seeing. You know, I would expect and would pay $5 extra for all of those different add-ons, but it's not that way.
No, it's been the way we've done things.
Clayton, what were you going to say there?
Well, our pricing policy is we use kinesiology, and we use prayer, and we pray what's in the highest and best interest to charge.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're telling me that the way that you make your business decisions for pricing is to pray about it and to do, it sounds like kinesiology, what's it called? Stress testing. Is that right?
Muscle testing.
Muscle testing. That's right. So where, folks, have you ever heard of a company that's using prayer and meditation and muscle testing to set their pricing? That sounds very interesting. And now Steady Eddie here, I don't know if we'd call him a cynic or not, but he says it sounds like engineered magic. How would you respond to that?
Well, magic is what has happened in the past, what things are called before, there's the scientific proof or ways to, explain what's happening. And, I think what we're seeing with these consciousness technologies, that they're harnessing consciousness, which is part of everything, all it is, and in new ways, or ways that are new to us in our current, paradigm. And yeah, it may seem like magic, but it's physics. It's just not explained in the current models at this time.
Interesting way to put it. And you think about if you took a cell phone, certainly, or even if you took a flashlight to some, country or a village or a place of people that have never seen that, that's magic. But it's really just basic technology. And really, I think at the end of the day, FLFE, even though it's energetic, even though it has to do with things that are not seen, it's just as it's electricity technology. We don't really see that unless you get zapped by it. So I mean, and I'm of this, and I know I work with Halo on the Mystech bracelets, and you guys, everybody always wants to know, but you got to tell me exactly how it works, or I'm not going to do it. I can't tell you exactly how the lights work in this house, but that doesn't stop me from flipping the switch and taking advantage of what they provide for me. So sometimes, folks, the fact that it works is and can be enough, especially when all the benefits are positive. I know that's a little bit redundant, and certainly the mindset and the energy and the consciousness and the intention behind it is of the highest and purest order, I would say.
Well, we try to bring out explanations on the website that make sense to people, and it is a bridge. If you've done Reiki in the past, you can understand this technology, more so, or if you've done distance healing or that kind of thing. But as you go through the link on your website to the About page, how does FLFE work? There's some explanations there about it.
Absolutely. And you can go right in the box below down to the bottom. It talks about FLFE and how to get your free trial. Just go to my website, which is listed right there. And as I showed you, it's on the upper left-hand corner. A couple people have asked, how did this technology come to be discovered?
Well, I had a health crisis in 2007, and I was looking for a way to heal that condition. And using kinesiology, I was testing the level of appropriateness of different resources, we'll call them. So, I went on an alkaline diet. I was taking mega doses of vitamins, alkaline water, all kinds of things. And I came across this technology. And it was a pretty nonlinear technology, and it calibrated as the most appropriate intervention for my condition. So I actually met this inventor, started spending a lot of time with him. He was helping me. And that's when I first seen the high consciousness field in the output stack of the machine. And that when you put a crystal in there, he was putting crystals in. He was charging them up and putting them around the house. And we noticed that when you put a positive thought in that high consciousness field with a unique identifier, it would benefit that environment or that individual in the environment. And so that was the genesis of it. In fact, we called that machine the Genesis machine. It filled 2 rooms at the time.
Isn't that amazing? That reminds me of Star Trek a little bit, the Genesis device. But now you said that it's $35 for the flagship product. Are there, if you just want, say, just EMF or just the GI, are there lesser price points in that as well?
Yeah, we've just launched 2 new products. One is called Smarter EMF, and it's EMF mitigation, GI tract, brain optimization, and what we call energized food. They all include energized food as well, which...
Ooh, what is that, Jeff?
Well, that is adding energy to food. If you think about eating raw food or fresh food, like pick it right out of the garden, there's a lot of life force energy in that food. And that energy actually aids in the digestive process, where there's just more energy for the processes that break down that food, and it's more optimally absorbed. So we're adding energy once the food comes into the mouth to the food. So it's like eating fresher food. There's more life force energy with it. It follows the food down and through the digestive process and into the absorption. So
that's amazing.
So that supports GI tract, which supports brain optimization. So all of that plus EMF is in what we call Smarter EMF, and that's $15 a month.
Okay, so $15 a month for all of what you just talked about.
Yep, and then we have the same product for youth, for kids that are 21 or young adults that are 21 and under, and that's really to help families, support their kids. They feel like they have to give them a cell phone, they have to give them a cellular device. That it's the same. It has the EMF mitigation, brain optimization, food, and it's $10 or $12 a month, $10 if you commit to 6 months or a year.
Wow, that's amazing. But again, if you have the flagship FLFE, all of that's included, right?
That's right.
Everything.
That's great. That's really great. I feel even better about it. I'm sorry?
And a lot more.
And a lot more.
Yeah, there's a lot more other support products. Liver, kidney, gallbladder is really important. And again, it's more energy. The body uses it. But it's also positive declarative statements. It's like praying for your liver 24/7, or having 10,000 monks pray for your liver 24/7. So that's in the flagship, because it's so important for us personally in our evolution to have good filtering. Because the better our filtering organs are, the more capacity we have, the more healing we can do. And the more evolution, because rising in consciousness is a physical process, and things get rebuilt and optimized.
Interesting. I just want to say this: Bavarian Winch is a follower that came over to my channel from when I was interviewed by Sam Tripoli, who does a Tinfoil Hat podcast. If you don't know who he is, he's a pretty famous comedian. He's runs with Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo and those guys. And Bavarian Winch is saying that she loves Sam and she loves Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo. And I'm actually going up this weekend to St. Louis to be with them. And I'm going to point my fluffy towards that event. So we'll get Sam and we'll get Sam and we'll get Eddie Bravo all fluffied up, and we'll have them report back on what they feel. Bavarian Winch.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah,
great guys. And I mean, these are guys. I mean, Eddie Bravo, Sam Tripoli. They're comedians, successful in their own right, and they're still because they want to. They're tipping their toes into paranormal. They're tipping their into the new age, into some of these new technologies. And I mean, probably not making them a lot of money to do that. So I salute those guys for, actually thinking outside the box and thinking outside the bank too. So, much love to you, Sam and Eddie, and I can't wait to see you this Saturday. But it's so amazing. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Laughter's a sign of high consciousness fields. When you're having fun and laughing, the vibe is high.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. There's no doubt about it. And I didn't think, it's FLFE, but I consider myself an FLFEE, an evangelist, an enthusiast. And I didn't think that I could get more excited about it. But this conversation has made me feel better about it. It's made me feel like I want to, again, really try to at least mention it to everybody that I meet, at least everybody that I meet on the program. And I have to believe, and I think that Jay Campbell said this way back when we first met, that if everybody, this could actually be a technology. If we could get everybody in the world to get on this, it literally could help change the world. And when you're involved in something like that, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot of service work, Jeffrey. We have a lot of programs on like helping bees, the immune system of bees, cetaceans. We've done a lot of service work for concentration camps and different war zones around the world.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah. It all started back in 2011. We did a whole year of service work before we decided to start the business. So we do, the money that we get, we have salaries, we have employees, and we have office expenses and business expenses like everybody else. We do lots of service work. We still give most of it away.
That's amazing. And here's a great question from Roger Rabbit. Oh, shoot, I just lost it. Here it is. Is there any information on the effects of your technology on people with abnormal brain structures, like people that are highly sensitive to all energy, electrical fields, barometric changes, and are sometimes prone to seizures?
Well, again, we're adding energy to the environment, and the body's innate intelligence takes it and does with it what it wants. So there's not, there's not a frequency, there's not a wave. It's like going to a pilgrimage site. So that what we have found, there's people that we had a woman that was struck by lightning 3 times. So believe it or not, yeah, must be some piece there.
That's something.
But her nervous system, her brain, they're really unusually, stressed. So when she first came on, she had some headaches. She paused it, and now she's back on. So there is, as the brain takes this energy and does with it what is best. It's our innate intelligence knows best. That's our mantra, that our bodies are doing the healing, know what to do, and when they have the energy to do it, they get to work. And there could be some effects, and that's why we have the on-off switch, where people can turn it off if they like. And with the body being supported in this way, the healing begins to happen. And we had a mother with a daughter who's, I guess the daughter's about 36 years old, really bad car accident, head trauma, pretty much incapacitated. They went on FLFE with the brain optimization, and her progress has been very steadily getting better.
That's fantastic.
Kind of a slow and steady increase in her ability to concentrate for longer periods of time, do crossword puzzles and other kind of cognitive tests that they use to test how she's doing. So
that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
We don't make medical claims. There's no,
right.
Miracles, but the slow and steady use of a good environment by the body is really what we're about.
Absolutely. And I'm just reminded too, wanted to mention another name of a guy that's reaching out that doesn't have to. He's invited me to come on to his podcast. And that's Chris Jericho. You may know from the WWE wrestling days. He's got a very popular podcast called Talk is Jericho. And I've been invited to go on that too. And, Chris, again, reaching into paranormal consciousness, ascension, truth, quote unquote. So, salute to Y2J as well for stepping up and doing things they don't have to do. So it just seems like people are getting more interested in spirituality. People are getting more interested in making a difference. And I think the more fluffy that gets on out there can only help contribute to that. Wouldn't you say, gentlemen?
Absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely. Clayton, go ahead and take a few minutes and whatever you have to say to kind of wind up and what you'd like to leave the people with as a way of thoughts. And then Jeff will ask you to do the same thing when Clayton's done. And take your time, gentlemen. You have all the time you need.
There's lots of ways to look at the world, and from the view of consciousness kinesiology, the world consciousness is going up. We're at the highest point ever in the history of the planet. Part of that is due to the 26,000 year Kali Yuga cycle that we're in, and where our solar system is in the position of the galaxy, and where that is in the position of the universe. And so we are in a naturally increasing time of positive energy. And we've done some research on this using muscle testing and gone back 26,000 years and then gone back 26,000 years before that. And the world has experienced significant jumps in consciousness. And so, in spite of what the media might say or the news might tell you, the world is a better place to live than it was.
Absolutely.
I look at my grandparents and my great-grandparents of their lives. I don't know my great-grandparents that well, but I know the life that they lived, and our lives are better in spite of the challenges that we have. We have better health care, longer lives, higher quality of life. So that's the message I'd like to leave people with, is that the world is becoming a better place. The level of consciousness of the planet is 242 the last time I checked. It was 190 in 1985. In 1986, it went to 207. It went back a little bit to 205. So it's growing. It fluctuates. It's not always an even, steady phase of growth, but we're in an extraordinary time.
Clayton, where is 242 on the Hawkins scale?
That's just below neutrality. 250 is neutrality. 300 is willingness. So, and there's pockets of the world that are higher, and there's places that are lower, but on an average, we're doing really well as a society.
Absolutely, it's improving.
And part of the reason that we're doing better is because of the internet and the potential positive effects that it has, and the people like you, Jeffrey and Sam and Joe and Eddie and Chris and all these people you're talking about. There's millions of us, and
yes,
we're all trying to help each other. We're trying to do what's best. And we're an extraordinary force. There's an extraordinary force of positivity out there in spite of everything else. So
very well said. Thank you for that optimistic message. Very, very powerful. Jeffrey, what do you have to say to us?
Well, I would say take care of yourself and trust your instincts. Trust your feelings about things. And take everything with a grain of salt, but don't hesitate to act, to take care of yourself and to put yourself, in a good position for your for your own life, for your own evolution.
Good exhortation.
So
Good
that's
exhortation.
Yeah, it's, we can be taking care of others, and many people fall into, just the family life, but to take that moment of time to, be with yourself for meditation, for prayer, whatever appeals to you the most, but to create that sanctuary in your own home where you can feel safe, feel supported. And that's what we are here to do, is to help create that and to support people. But it really comes down to you trusting yourself and listening to your intuitive senses, because you can tell the truth. And when you listen to someone speak, you can practice knowing that's true or that's not true. And you can lead your life in a way that follows the truth and assists you to live the life that you dream of having,
That's amazing. And I
create that
remember
life.
there was a smart guy a couple thousand years ago that reportedly said something like, love your neighbor and love yourself. And of course, if you can't really love your neighbor as you love yourself unless you love yourself, and you could argue love yourself first. So I think your words are very, very appropriate, Jeff. And as we love ourselves and realize we're divine, sovereign, and free, and have the spark of divinity within us, then we realize, oh, my neighbor's the same way. And instead of trying to cut him off or cut her off, now we're starting to give them a break, because we understand that we're all the same way and we're all in this together. And I think those are great exhortations. And maybe as we continue to practice that, we can take more advantage of this great time to be alive. For Clayton and Jeff, the product is Focus Life Force Energy. Go in the box below. You can check it out. You can get the free trial for your home, also on your cell phone. How many feet radius from your cell phone, gentlemen?
300 feet.
300 feet from your cell phone. So that's fluffy everywhere, right?
Yes.
That's right.
You can get them back to back. Try them both out and see which one works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Gentlemen, please go ahead. Clayton, did you have something to add?
Yeah, you can do free trials on different products, so that gives you an experience of the contrast. You're right, Jeffrey.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, it's been a pleasure to be with you, and please keep me updated. And I know the folks that I work with there in the office are very good at keeping me updated and just checking with me to see how everything's going. So you've got a crack staff there. Congratulations to you for that. I think good people draw good people, and it's certainly evident within the Focus Life Force Energy environment. Folks, Clayton and Jeff, please sit there so I can say goodbye to you personally. And to all the people in the chat room, thank you. And we've gone to a new level, gentlemen, and this doesn't really matter to you, but you know what trolls are? You get trolls in your chat room, but now they're paying to troll me. And if they want to pay $5 per insult, I'm all for that. Let them roll. I love my trolls. Thank you for being here. And thank you to all of you. I salute you for being here, seeking after truth. And like Clayton was saying, like Jeff is saying, let me just add my 2 cents. We are the last generation of real humans, in my opinion. And we know the history is written by the winners. And if we don't win, no one will know what we did. So let's join together and let's win, win, win. Tomorrow, we can build a better world, and we can write the story, sit down together and write the story of how the last generation of real humans got divine, sovereign, and free, and were able to take back this place that we're in from the dark forces that have controlled it for so long. For Clayton and Jeffrey, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Thank you very much for being with us, and we'll see you again real soon.